Hello everybody, I am Spectacular. How are you? Chances are that if you have not been living under a rock or you're not too afraid to get on the internet this last year or so, that you've noticed something increasing in price, in the metal world. And yes, silver and gold for sure, platinum, palladium been rising, thank goodness. But there's something else that's been creeping along. Something else that's trying to double its strength. That's right. Oh my gosh, copper. Like, we never talk about copper, right? Because it's just, it's just so industrial, and we just think of it being so common, and there's just, we're never going to have an ending supply of copper, right? Well, I tell you what, with the prices lately, you're probably looking at all these copper cents that you've been saving like a weirdo, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of us have talked about for a long time, we save our copper cents. You're probably like getting those bags out now and kind of looking at them a little bit and thinking about them just a little bit. And know before you start going crazy, you can't melt pennies yet. Cents, if you want to, be technical, you can't melt them. But maybe one day, if the demand starts to get there, they may relax that law. You think? You may be going through your copper rounds that you bought just for fun, and you may be, kind of look at them a second time now. Those ones, you overpaid for that, really you don't get any value out of them. But now you're kind of looking at them going like, wow, maybe one day I'll have to sell those. Just don't go to your friends' electrical units and stuff and AC units and try to, steal their stuff, because that's illegal. You can't be doing that. But copper is something that people have tried to collect, pieces of here and there for a long time. It's nothing new, but just lately, the crazy spike in price has had a lot of people chit-chatting. Everywhere I go with the coin shops and shows, people are talking about copper again. And I find it so interesting that I'm actually, looking back at these cents that I collected and thinking like, hey, maybe that's not such a bad idea. And why is copper so important? Well, it's super industrial. Let's go to the computer real quick. Let me show you some stuff. All right, so this is a quick little article I found on the internet, and there's plenty more like it, and there's plenty more reasons beyond this to really be interested in copper. But I want you to see this word right here. Well, these words, sustainable energy. Okay, sustainable being the key word here. So now I want to read just two quick lines of this, and this says, the expected increase in copper demand is also a result of the sustainable energy generation and consumption agenda, part of the green energy drive by governments, because that's where many governments are trying to go right now, is sustainable energy. They're thinking about the future. And in quotes, it says, of all the metals used in the generation, transmission, storage, and consumption, copper remains the common denominator. Whoa, right? Electricity generation, transmission, infrastructure, energy storage, and consumption all require copper. So copper is a big deal. So now, you can be like me and be crazy enough to save all of your copper cents and your copper rounds, like I said, that you overpaid for that were, more or less just for fun at the time, but now you're kind of thinking like, wow, how interesting. Or you can get involved in a copper mining company that also is mining something else we love. And I think you know that stuff. Gold, right? Gold, yes. So let me talk about this company. Now, before I get into Phoenix Gold Resources Corp., who is a copper miner and gold miner and does mine some other things as well, I want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You all know this. I'm just a guy on the internet that looks at things with a close eye. And I highly recommend that you all do too, that you take this stuff and use your own research beyond what I'm showing you and really think about the things that I'm talking about, right? Also, I want to say that Phoenix Gold Resources Corp. is a sponsor of this video. So you know that. Now it's out of the way. Now, don't take that and be like, oh, well, I have to give up on this video. Think about copper a little bit. And I know you all are, because you've seen that spike in copper price lately. So it's making you think, what is going on with this stuff? And the beautiful part, I think, is that we have not missed out on the price potential of copper. But let's say you don't want to stack a bunch of cents around the house, right? Or copper, because right now, if you buy a bunch of copper, man, you're looking at a lot of space that you need, right? A lot of people have a hard time stacking silver beyond gold, just because if they do have a lot of money to do so, you're talking about a huge space requirement. So maybe you don't want to go ahead and stack it yourself, this kind of stuff, the copper. Maybe you want to get involved in the people who are actually in the mining process. Let's talk about Phoenix Gold Resources Corp a little bit. So this is their website. I'll have this right here down in the description so you can check all this stuff out. I want to go straight to the projects tab and I want to look at what they're trying to do. Try to show you all what's going on. All right, so they have two areas they're working on, right? York Harbor property in Newfoundland, and they also have property in Nevada. Let's go to Nevada real quick because I find some things here really interesting. Nevada is a big time gold area. Most people know that, I think. If not, then do some research and you'll find out that it's a big deal when it comes to gold. But I want to look at this information right here. So these are the areas right here where they have property. They have it in El Dorado and Plumas. El Dorado and Plumas. Now this is what I find interesting. The ownership in El Dorado is 50% Phoenix Gold Resources Corp. And 50% Newmont Mining. Newmont Mining is a big boy when it comes to the miners. So the fact that Phoenix Gold Resources Corp has 50% there as well, I find pretty darn interesting. All right, now I have a chart up here for Phoenix Gold Resources Corp. This is a Canadian exchange, so you will see the amount of money in Canadian. The ticker symbol is PXA. I'll have that information down in the description of the video, so because there's another chart too I want to look at. But you can see that this is the max growth right here. I got from 2019 to 21. Seems to be a nice uptrend right here in value and price. And as the mines start, finding things and they start drilling away, this stock could go higher than that. So it could be very interesting to see what happens here in the future. And real quick, let me go over to the OTC, or the American exchange that they're on right here. Let me zoom out a little bit. And right now you're looking at 29 cents. Again, I'll have that information down in the description. The ticker symbol for this one is PGRCF. Phoenix Gold Resources, TSX-V symbol for the Canadian exchange, PXA, and the US symbol PGRCF on the OTC markets. It says it is developing both a gold project in Nevada and a copper zinc past producing mine in Canada. Wealth Research Group principals are shareholders of this Canadian $10 million company. Do your homework on it. Keep in mind that over 50% of the shares are tightly held by management, the founder, and associates, which mean they have the skin in the game and are aligned with the shareholders as we see it. And again, something I find fascinating right here is the El Dorado property in Nevada is actually jointly owned by Newmont Mining, the world's largest gold producer. And Phoenix Gold Resources Corp has the other 50% of that property. That's interesting to me. Another thing you can't take for granted on this company is that they have multiple properties and in multiple areas of the world. So here's their York Harbor property, which is specializing in copper and zinc. Zinc is super important. A lot of our cents now have gone to zinc because copper started getting too expensive, so they went to zinc. Now the prices of zinc are rising to ridiculous levels too. So, these metals that we're in search of are becoming rarer and rarer. This particular mine over here in the York Harbor area, this is a mine that has existed before. It's already proven to have these metals in it. So it's not like something that they're experimenting with and trying to find metals there. It's already been done before. They're just going back in and getting metals from these already existing mines and just adding value for their shareholders. All right, I know many of us do better with pictures. I am one that is included in that. So I want to bring this little slideshow right here up, and I want to show you what's going on with copper prices and why, just a small part of why they've been going a little bit crazier. The push for, like we talked about, sustainable energy. Everybody's trying to be, green. Many of the world's governments right now think that going green is a solution to future issues that we're going to have. So, let's go green. And I agree with it too. I'm right there with them. Now, we all know that electric vehicles have been going crazy lately in the news. You see a lot of these big companies, electric vehicle companies. They've been talked about just about every single day in the news. If you pay attention to the markets at all, you'll be seeing that. So first, let's talk about the car up top, the one that many of us have been used to for many years, the internal combustion engine. This is a car that, many of us have been driving around for years. No big deal. Takes about 48 pounds of copper. This is an estimate between car and car. So it's not every single car takes that, but general average probably. So 48 pounds of copper in one of those vehicles. A hybrid vehicle, one that kind of runs off of battery power and gas. Look at the difference right there. 88 pounds of copper is needed in these vehicles.
But wait, there's more. When we go to the battery electric vehicle, or BEV as they call it, 183 pounds of that red metal is needed. Wow, that's a lot, right? The difference, needed is significant. And it's not like we're just going to stop driving. You know what I mean? Let's go green. We're just going to stop driving around. No, we're not going to stop driving. We have to get to and from. We're going to need these electric vehicles, and we're going to need a lot more copper. So I do think the Phoenix Gold Resources Corp is actually a really, really interesting company. The fact that they have multiple properties that they're mining at, they're going after multiple metals at these different properties, and they're going after something that a lot of people have taken for granted for a while, but now are starting to kind of really think about it twice, is copper. What do you guys think about copper? I know that my comments here on this channel have been filling up with people kind of whispering little thoughts about copper here and there, talking about their cents that, have become more valuable. Because the United States stopped making the copper cents because it became too expensive. It's going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to find a copper cent anymore out there in circulation. People are just going to hoard them up as if they aren't hoarding them up already. And then eventually it's not going to be copper cents. It's going to be, plastic cents or something, because zinc is going to be too expensive. And, it's interesting. Do you hoard all these metals? I do. But is there a way to play the game without having to hoard all these metals as well? And that's why the mining companies that are doing these things right here, that are actually going out and getting the metals from the ground, are an interesting play, in my opinion, just because, you can get in on it without having to stack this stuff all around your house, and have your entire house smell like copper. And then people, that are your neighbors question you and ask you why their AC unit was broken into. Don't do that stuff. Don't do it. Anyways, I've said too much. I got to go for now. Think about this. Think about it. Do your own research, of course. Spegtacular is out.